Hello everyone, so can you guess what I am? Look at me. Do you know my background? Oh god. Oh, oh, oh. Throughout my whole life, a lot of people can't really guess what I am, my background just by looking at me. And because I'm mixed, I call myself a mutt. I don't get offended by that word, but some people do. But that's your choice. My choice is to not be offended by the word mutt. I'm not ashamed of being mixed. I think it's actually a cool thing. I embrace it. And I actually work in an industry where, you kind of get judged by your looks. One of my jobs, I have several jobs, I do background acting here in LA. Extra work, but the proper term is background acting, okay? Because it's more than just sitting. We actually have to act. I work on TV shows, films, whatever. You might have seen me in the background and stuff. But background acting, they cast you pretty much just based on your looks. That's it. It doesn't matter what you actually are, it's just what you look like. So I've met other mixed people who, I met this guy, he was like half Japanese, half white, but he looks more white, so he gets cast for Caucasian roles. He doesn't really ever get cast for being Asian. I don't really get cast for what I am, not even my age. I'm 31, but I never get anything. When they need people that look 30s, 40s, 30s, I never get cast for it. They always tell me, you look too young, you look too young. So I usually play as young as 14. From like 14 to like mid-20s, so not even late 20s. Like they still say I look too young for late 20s. And then in terms of like my look, I usually get cast for what I'm not, or just part of what I am, because I am part Caucasian, I guess, a mix of different things. Now that you've probably thought about it a little bit, I'll let you know what I am, okay? My mom, she is Chinese and Mexican, and my dad, he's more the European. English, Spanish, Italian. I think I have a little bit of Irish in there because I did the ancestry DNA thing and I said that was like some percentage of Irish there. So yeah, I look more like my dad. My green eyes for my dad's side, my brown hairs for my dad's side. And when I was younger, I looked a little bit more Asian, with my eyes and everything. But then, your face kind of changes sometimes when you grow older, so some people can see it, some people can't. I worked on a show and they were doing my makeup, and this Filipino girl came in and she thought it was Asian. She's like, oh my gosh, I thought you were Asian. I was like, well, I'm part Asian, but not completely. And for me, being mixed, I don't really see it as a bad thing. I actually, like I said, I think it's cool because there's so many different combinations of, and I think when I meet other people that are mixed, I'm like, oh, that's cool, it's interesting. And I'm not saying if you're not mixed, you're horrible or lame or whatever, but it's just, to me, I find it interesting, okay? So I don't see it as a bad thing. I don't think I'm a victim because I'm mixed. Just needed to kind of provide that context about where I work and how I was judged by looks and how I feel about being mixed before I watch this video. So this is a video that BuzzFeed made, and I'm not a fan of BuzzFeed. I've made other videos responding to BuzzFeed stuff and I think it's really dumb. So yeah, let's watch it. It's called The Struggle of Being Mixed Race. Okay, let's watch it.
I think I'm what Hollywood would call ethnically ambiguous.
I get cast as ethnically ambiguous a lot, and I don't see it as a bad thing because it's true, because people can't really tell just by looking at me what I am, and I understand. It's maybe not obvious, and I don't get offended by that because I understand that some people can't tell just by looking at me what I am. So I don't, if I see a casting, a post, they look for ethnically ambiguous people, I usually, try to get that one, and I usually get it, and I don't think it's a bad thing. So that's just me. Nobody knows you're biracial. Why the sad music? Oh my god. Why is that a bad thing? Oh my gosh. How are people just supposed to know? Sorry, not everyone's gonna automatically know what you are just by looking at you, especially if you have a unique look that's not, a lot of people don't look like you. How are they supposed to know? They're not used to seeing somebody that looks like you, so how are they supposed to know what you are?
When people first glance at me, the first thing they see is a white guy, and usually I'll have to end up explaining to people that I am half Mexican and half white.
Yeah, that's the story of my life. I don't really see it as a bad thing. I know other light-skinned Mexicans that, you know, they're mixed and, you know, with like a European, you know, background and Mexican, and they have to explain that. And it is annoying that people, you know, assume that all Mexicans are brown, which they're not. I made a whole video years ago about racist tweets about this little boy in Texas, and people were saying all these racist tweets because they assumed he was Mexican, and or like they assumed that he wasn't from this country when he actually was born in the US. And in the video at the end I said, well, guess what? I'm Mexican, what's up? I mean, I was born here in the US, but my parents were born in Mexico, but their ancestors came from all these other countries and ended up in Mexico. I know other white Mexicans are like Mexican and Argentinian Mexican and Danish Mexican and Irish Mexican and this, and a lot of people don't know what I am, okay? I get a lot of people asking me, what are you? What are you? What are you? Oh, I get it all the time. And I don't get offended by it because I understand that my look might be confusing and might not be something that they're used to seeing. And when people say, what are you? It wouldn't be the way I would word it, but I know they're not doing it in a mean way. They're just curious. They want to know, you know, my background, so I just tell them, you know? If they were doing it in a mean way, then, you know, I'd be annoyed, but most of them, they're just curious. And you know what? I would much rather have them ask me what my background is instead of assuming. I hate when people assume anything. I hate it. That's one of my biggest pet peeves. So I really appreciate when people ask me what I am. But man, I've been told I look Russian, Norwegian, Ukrainian, French, Argentinian, Brazilian, all these countries that I don't have in my blood. But I don't get offended when people say that about me. I'm just like, oh, that's cool. I wish I was from there. That would be awesome.
No one has ever been able to correctly identify who I am my entire life.
Because you have a unique look, a look that people are not used to seeing. How do you expect people to just automatically know? Wouldn't you rather have them ask you instead of assuming? I just said that. Oh god.
Gotten Cuban, Puerto Rican, Dominican, half black, half white. People think
okay, like I said, I've been told that I look like I'm from all these different countries, and I'm not, and I don't get offended by it. I'm just like, oh, that's cool. I wish I was from there because, you know, I like traveling. I like to visit different countries, so, you know, it would be cool to look like I'm from those countries, but I'm not, and I don't get offended by it.
I'm Asian, Egyptian, Polynesian, Asian,
Fully white or fully Asian.
Almost everyone misreads me in some way. It's very hard to guess Danish and Indian from a first glance.
Yeah, you just said it right there. It's hard to guess because you have a unique look, and you know, I don't expect people to just know what I am, especially because I look more like my dad. When I tell people that my mom is part Chinese, they're like, what? But it's true, she is my mom. She did give birth to me, so I do have some Chinese in me. So I don't really, you know, expect people to assume that part of me, that I'm, you know, part Chinese or anything like that. You know, because I know, you know, I just have more typical European looks, you know, the light skin, light eyes. So most people are gonna assume I'm from some country that has more light skinned people. But like I said, I just prefer them to ask. But if they assume I'm from all these other countries, I'm just like, oh no, that's cool, but no, I'm not from there. This is my background, and that's it.
I've honestly heard everything.
Sometimes I wish I could walk in and just like be recognized as like a Mexican American.
Sometimes people will come up to me.
Yeah, I mean, I do wish people, you know, would understand that there are light-skinned Mexicans because a lot of people from Europe went to Mexico, and especially if you look at the soap operas, a lot of the actors are light-skinned, and you know, they're from Poland, Spain, Italy. You know, a lot of their parents, you know, moved from Europe, went to Mexico. I mean, also I think that it has to do with just, you know, stereotypes, and you know, every time they cast a Latino, they want them to look darker. You know, my job, when they're asking, you know, they'll tell you the looks that they want. They want Asians, they want Caucasian looking people. They'll say looking, Caucasian looking, Asian looking. So you don't actually have to be that as long as you look like it. So they'll say, we want Hispanic looking people. And when I try to get it, they don't give it to me, even though I am Hispanic. But they don't give it to me because when they say Hispanic looking, they mean, you know, darker, you know, brown skinned people. So they just, you know, they're just going by these stereotypes. So yeah, hopefully people get more educated, but we just have to just let them know there are light-skinned Mexicans, and hopefully most people will be open-minded. But the ones that refuse to accept that they're light-skinned Mexican, just, they're not worth the time.
On the street and like start speaking Spanish frantically, and I can't respond because I don't speak Spanish.
I find that depending on where I am, people read me differently.
They tend to think that I'm whatever they are. People of a Hispanic background think I'm Hispanic. People who are Asian think I look Asian.
An interesting part of my...
That actually happened to me in Norway. Actually, I was visiting Norway. I had several people come up to me and start speaking Norwegian to me. I'm not Norwegian. I just smiled and nodded. I was like, okay, yeah, and I was able to just get away with it. I didn't know Norwegian. Luckily, there was a lot of people that spoke English there when I was there. I mean, I was only there for a week, or no, 2 weeks, sorry, but I wasn't insulted by that. I do understand how it could be frustrating when people just like assume. So that's why I don't like when people assume. I prefer that they ask. So that can get frustrating. But, you know, it's just something that's kind of annoying, but I don't think it's like this devastating, oh my gosh, problem. I feel like BuzzFeed is making this way too much of a big deal. It's something that can be annoying, but I don't think it's like, oh my gosh, I'm such a victim. Like, feel sorry for me. No.
My journey as a young multiracial person growing up was rejection from sort of both sides of my ethnic identity.
Just something that I grew up.
Yeah, I can understand that too, you know, but I think, you know, that says more about those people that are rejecting you than you. You know, they have to be such jerks that you don't look like us, so we're not gonna let you in our group, or blah blah blah. That's more on them. That makes them look like jerks. That's not really, you know, your fault. Growing up, I was confused because my parents spoke Spanish. They were born in Mexico, and when I was in high school, I remember I didn't apply for any Hispanic scholarships because every time I'd see the posters in, you know, in the high school advertising these Hispanic scholarships, all the kids on the posters were dark skinned, and I was just like, okay, so do I have to be dark skinned to apply? Am I not Hispanic enough because my skin is light? You know, so I felt I wasn't Hispanic enough to apply for these scholarships because they only had dark skinned people on the poster, so I just didn't apply. But I'm not saying feel sorry for me or anything like that. So whoever was making those posters, they didn't help the situation. I guess they didn't realize, or it was somebody who's maybe not Hispanic or whatever. They didn't realize that Hispanic people can look, you know, come in different shades and they don't all look the same. So, you know, they should have included more light-skinned people, but, you know, I didn't like really make a big deal about it. It was just like, okay, I guess I just won't apply. I was a little confused at that point. I didn't really know my background, so I asked my mom, you know, what are we? And then she told me, oh, Mexican Chinese, and your dad's like all this European stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, now it makes sense why I look like this. But if you don't get accepted by those, you know, by certain people who are just purists and you have to look like us, then that's more on them. That's, you know, them being jerks. Just be proud of your heritage, embrace that you're mixed. It's different, it's unique. Why do you want to look like other people? Why do you want to fit a stereotype?
Grew up with my whole life, like, I don't fit in. I don't belong to any ethnic group 100%. I never saw myself.
That's okay. It's cool. You get to be a part of a lot of groups. That's awesome. Why is that a bad thing? Why do you want to just belong to one? You know, I feel like we should feel lucky that we have all these different groups that we can belong to. I think it's a good thing. I'm not crazy for thinking it's a good thing.
As different from anybody else until someone else pointed it out. The last thing you want to do is stand out. You want to blend in as much as possible.
What the heck, girl? Okay, I guess that's your idea, but I don't want to look like everyone else. I don't want to blend in. I mean, I'm an introvert, so I'm not like, look at me. That's not my personality, or like draw attention to myself, but I definitely don't want to look just like everyone else. You know, if someone tells me I look unique, I think that's awesome. Honestly, I don't really think I look that unique. There's a lot of women that have long brown hair and light eyes, but I was working on the show Bones, okay? And I was a server. I was playing a server, I actually thought I looked really bad because I had my hair up in a ponytail, and I don't like putting my hair up in a ponytail because I have a big head. See, that's something I'm insecure about. I feel like I have a very big head, so the ponytail, I felt, emphasized my big head. And I didn't feel very, you know, attractive in my outfit. But the stand-in for one of the actors, and if you don't know what a stand-in is, that's somebody that just basically stand in the place of the actor while they're fixing the lighting and camera angles and all that stuff. So it was a wedding scene, I think the second last episode of the series. Wedding reception, lots of people there in beautiful dresses, beautiful women and things like that, and I'm just there playing a server. And the stand-in came up to me, she's like, "Oh, I just need to tell you, you're really beautiful." And I was like, "Okay." She's like, "You just really stand out from everybody else." I was like, oh my gosh, like, I was so flattered. That was very nice of her to say, because first of all, she's a woman, and I don't know, in my experience, a lot of women are very mean to me. So when a woman is nice to me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I really appreciate it. I was just so flattered, and I said thank you, and she just said I just had to say that because, you know, you really stand out. And I said, oh, thank you. And I was surprised too that she said I stood out and that I was really pretty, because I felt not pretty. I felt kind of ugly, and, you know, I was wearing a ponytail, which I didn't like. So just her telling me that just really, you know, helped make me feel better about what I was wearing. But it's just really interesting because I felt very unattractive, and, you know, I'm just playing a server. Who looks at the servers, you know, when there's a lot of beautiful women in dresses? So the fact that, you know, another woman came up and said that to me, that just really made my whole week. So that was a really nice thing. And I don't know, why would you want to blend in? I think it's awesome to stand out. I think it's cool. I guess some people want to stand out, some people want to blend in. I don't know, I'd rather stand out and be unique and not look like everyone else.
Talk about race like it's this like built-in intrinsic thing, but the reality is we're mostly talking about looks, right?
If I'm going to be what?
Yeah. So you shouldn't make it such a big deal, because your personality should be more important than your looks. So
Right, well then why can't I have blonde hair and blue eyes? If I'm gonna be Mexican, then why can't I have dark skin and speak perfect Spanish? People think I'm Asian, why can't I have, you know, be really tiny and skinny and like fit into all these stereotypes? But I'm not a stereotype, I'm just like me.
And for mixed...
that's good! That's good that you're not a stereotype and you are just you. That's awesome.
people who sort of live in between the lines, we sort of just have to kind of be more than our racial background.
You don't need
Yes, you got it. Have to be more than your looks. I mean, that's just an interesting thing about you, I guess, if you're mixed, you know, a little interesting fact, I guess, about you. But yeah, please be more than that. You know, just be yourself, have a great personality, you know, be awesome. That's more important than your looks.
to fit a mold that other people think you should fit.
It's difficult learning that you don't have to decide what race you are.
There's no textbook on how to be multiracial and be okay with it. You just kind of have to forge ahead and be your own person.
I am who.
Yeah, that's awesome. Being mixed, I think, is interesting. It makes for interesting conversation, but should definitely not be the end-all be-all. You should definitely be more than that and just be an awesome person.
Who I am, and no one else is like me, and that's pretty cool.
Finally! Okay, that's the end of the video. Finally, they got to the point. I don't know what the point of this video was. So, okay, so it starts with, at the beginning, talking about being a struggle, and at the end they're like, it's awesome! I'm okay with it. Yeah, okay, well, why'd you have to make it seem like it was a struggle? It should have just been a celebration of like, oh, we have these different, you know, combinations that make us who we are, and it's interesting, but we are definitely more than our background. You know, makes for a good conversation starter, you know? But you just can't be offended when people ask you what you are. I just don't get offended. If I'm curious about somebody's background, I don't say, what are you? I say, oh, what's your background, or something like that. But people ask me, what are you, all the time, and even though I wouldn't word it that way, I understand where they're coming from, so I don't get mad. But some people get mad. They think it's so offensive when you ask somebody, what are you? It's like, they're just trying to figure out what you are because they don't know. Like I said, I would rather have somebody ask me than assume. So anyway, if you're mixed, it's cool. If you are mixed, let me know in the comments what, you know, your background is. And also, I wanted to bring up this article that Hunter Avallone, I think that's how you pronounce his name, he made a video, a response video to this as well. And he shared this article, and I want to share it with you guys too because I thought it was pretty cool. So basically, they did a study and they concluded that mixed race relationships are making us taller and smarter. Children born to genetically diverse parents are more intelligent than their ancestors. Researchers analyzed genetic information for more than 100 studies, and they included details of 350,000 people. So basically being mixed associated with better cognitive skills and higher education levels. Ooh, I didn't get the height. I'm the oldest one in my family, the oldest of 4, and I'm the shortest one. Messed up. I feel if you're the oldest, you should be the tallest. Those born to parents from different races and cultures also tend to have higher levels of education. Awesome! So, I'm college educated, my sister's college educated, my other sister's getting college educated, my youngest one. My brother, he's kind of the one that goes in and out of school, so. But he's a smart guy. You know, my brother, even though he's, you know, struggling with going out of school, he's a smart person. Okay, so see, that's a good thing about being mixed. So why are we complaining about that? That's actually a benefit that we have over people who are not mixed. So there you go. If you want to see that article, link in the description below. Celebrate what you are, whatever you are. It's part of what makes you you. It's not everything about you. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and like I said, let me know what your background is. I want to see the different combinations. I find that interesting. Also, I started a Patreon recently because if YouTubers who have more subscribers than me and less subscribers than me can have a Patreon, why can't I? Hello! So if you do want to help out the channel so I can make more videos more often and, you know, better quality videos, you can check it out. I have, you know, pretty good perks, I think, because I've had some people ask me about donating. So there you go. $1 a month, $2 a month, whatever you can, really helps. If you can't, it's fine. You're still welcome to my channel. Link is in the description below and probably somewhere around here. And I will talk to you guys later. Remember to always be amazing. Bye!